But anyway, let's move on to our last match of the day. It's a 6-match day for us, as is every Friday at Asia Pacific. And it's one I'm really looking forward to. It's Surrender versus Flurry. Just two of the top Korean pro players. And just two strong players overall that I respect a lot. And we'll see how it goes out as Surrender's Warrior is banned and Flurry's Warrior is banned. Nice gentleman's agreement there, I hope. I'm just saying, let's not today. Let's not do the Warrior Mirror. It's the last match of the day. But in the response for that, Surrender has the Shielded Druid, Priest, and Hunter versus Shaman, Hunter, and Warlock. So, I want to ask you a question, Mr. Brown. No Priest and no Druid from Flurry.
Right.
What's the plan?
Well, I mean, the first thing I thought when I saw his lineup is just like, what are the decks? What's left over if you don't play
What do you even
Priest
play?
and you don't play Druid? Exactly, you got to play something because he is playing what I consider two of the not top tier classes I think at the moment in Zoo and Hunter. Because for the most part, I think it's pretty safe to say that it's just Druid, Warrior, Priest, and Shaman at the moment, right at the top four. Arguably with Paladin slotted in there, depending on how strong you feel with the deck. I think you could make an argument for it. But for Flurry, again, last week he was the only player in all of Grandmasters to not bring the Priest, and he's gone with that again. Honestly, I wish we could interview him just so we could get an idea of why he's not bringing this Priest.
When he's streaming tomorrow morning, I'm going to ask him.
Right.
I'll ask him. Someone will answer. I think Flurry could speak English.
I actually have no idea.
I think he can speak some. Right.
More than we can speak Korean.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. Way more. As in more than 0. So, I've never been to Korea, so I've not even
Whereas if you had been, you would be fluent.
No, what I mean is I don't even know basic phrases, right? You know, like just, hello, thank you, blah, blah. I don't know because I've not been, so I've not needed to use it. Whereas I've
got
been,
Anyang
right?
Haseyo. That's it.
Sorry, what was that?
Anyang.
What does that mean?
Hello.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
it.
One word.
Diva says it all the time in Overwatch. Anyang, like she.
No, I've never noticed.
Really?
No.
You literally have a tattoo of her on your body.
I don't listen to Overwatch all the time. Jeez. Stop judging me, Derek.
Okay, sorry.
Let's get into this. So Flurry's, you can see his lineup, right? And some cards I do like, and this is why some of these highlights are on here, is in his Hunter, again, just Baited Arrow, Wing Blast, the Highman in there. So there's some beef in the late game, but also the Wing Blast I actually really like, because I feel like 4 damage, 1 mana right at this moment in the game is very good.
Yeah, I think against Priest with the Hunter deck, you can pull ahead on board and just win on tempo. But honestly, a lot of the time you don't have to. You just don't even have to present minions on the board. You can just be putting down a lot of strong removal early on in the form of Zephyrus, the Secrets, Wing Blast, Marked Shot, Eaglehorn Bow, Kill Command. There's so much removal in this deck.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm just looking at the things as well. I didn't realize the graphics had like cool art on the side based on the class.
I didn't realize that either. That's quite cool.
Is this new? High five to whoever did that. That looks sick. Like the lightning for the Shaman, the paw prints for the Hunter, I guess. And then like the runes for the Warlock look kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. But also against the Zoo, any Zoo list with the eggs in I'm a fan of as well, which I think all kicked off with Tom for me. Tom plays double eggs, which is great.
He does play 2 eggs, yeah.
He likes his omelets. But yeah, I like this, and just in general, I think if Flurry's going to go, I don't know, off meta with his lineup overall, then I do like his builds of the decks he's playing. Just the big question comes out to whether those are the right decks to even play, whereas Surrender is bringing a much more standardized lineup, which I think Surrender's done, apart from being one of the early players to bring Priest in APAC, I think Surrender's brought pretty standard stuff every week. But he's also been playing well and winning every week, or at least many of the weeks. So, again, no real complaints if someone brings standard stuff, but wins.
That's right.
Well, it's 5-5, maybe not as good as I thought. Oh, yeah, because he lost last weekend. Didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He had obviously a very poor start, down to 1-3, and then shot right back up, and seems to have petered out a middling score, which, again, he did lose in the first few weeks, which factors into it, but he's had a very strong couple of weeks, I think.
And I think as well, this is by no means me saying Surrender doesn't want to win, obviously, but Surrender is already qualified for Global Finals, so I think Surrender's focus would be more on not being relegated than finishing first in the division. Obviously, those two things kind of go together, but in terms of Surrender's, I don't know, how happy he is at the end of the season will result in him not being relegated as opposed to qualifying for Global Finals again.
Right, exactly. It's to do with his perception of his record at the moment. He is, I think, probably pretty happy with.
Just okay with it. Yeah, you know what? He qualified and won Season 1, and now he's 5-5 Season 2. Those are some good scores once you start adding these, seasonal records together.
They are indeed. But
Oh,
jumping on
start.
over into this game, it does feel like
He's getting
a
zooed.
bit of a rough start here for Surrender. Although, honestly, he has drawn a nutty starting hand. Like, this against Zoo is pretty close to the dream, right? He's got all good cards early on. If any hand's going to stabilize this, it's this one.
Yeah, and I actually think I quite like the Crystal Merchant.
So do I.
Because it requires something to trade into it.
Yeah.
We can see that, of course, there is a lackey with Rush. It's going to make a single trade happen. Fantastic. But on board, it has to be traded into, right? Even if there's a Kobold lackey,
Yeah.
unless there's literally 2 Kobold lackeys in his hand from that one effect, it has to be traded into, and it draws him a card.
Exactly. And
Fantastic.
I think Flurry is kind of forced into playing the Nefset next turn anyway, which is obviously not a bad thing. Nefset is the dream versus Druid.
Never set Vulture. Haha.
That's what dreams are made of right there.
And I honestly think double trade, never set. Oh, excuse me, hiccup, is completely fine.
I agree. I think it's by far the strongest play you can make this turn. Next turn, we can start looking at whether it's Lackey plus Recruiter or Vulture. Probably just Vulture, but either way, there's choices for Flurry aplenty, which is the important thing. And also just a lot of raw bloom and power. Which means that Surrender has to try and make something work. I guess gets to go Loti plus Wrath next turn. Both of them activated, of course, with the new hero power. So, sorry, although the card you just played in Druid of the Scythe is a choose one effect, it's the least impactful of the choose one effects.
But now here comes the power play. And already, unless there's literally Surger drawn off the top, you start to think he's just going to get there.
Sentimo plus Grim Rally. Is that good or terrible?
Well, what recovers a little bit more is Swipe, Innovate, Wrath. Clears everything but the Nefset off.
Yeah.
Oh, Surrender just going to go Wrath and then build up Swipe next turn. Okay. I can see the reason for this. Just get the Loti down.
Yeah, same.
I think he doesn't attack, right?
Yeah, I think you can stealth the swipe.
Oh. Second Innovate
It's so
next
good
turn.
next turn.
Second Innovate next
So
turn.
good.
He's so sick.
It's like Malagos Druid levels of power with the swipes.
Imagine this game right now. If old Innovate was in. Imagine question.
I mean, if we take back Druid cards and put in the quest, it would just be insane. Wild Growth for 2. Nourish for 5. Are you kidding me?
Time waits for no one.
Jeez. Ancient of Law would probably be good enough. Maybe. The deck might be so powerful you don't even play it.
Yeah, that's when you know it's too strong. Well, Flurry says, got more vultures where that came from. By more, I mean one more.
One.
That's all I can run.
I'm all out of vultures.
It was a split second where after seeing that 3-drop come, you go, wait, is there a 5/5 board? Now, though, literally an Innovate needed.
Oh, so close for Surrender. So close. So what can he do? We're looking at, of course, Swipe to clear off the Nefset and then trade into the Vulture. That's not bad, actually.
Oh, it's the fact
At least
that
a 3/3 and a 1/3.
Surrender has 4 out of 5 cards in his hand that he cannot play this turn.
He's just one draw away from a good
It's
time.
horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Imagine if he just had Nourish, which is very easy. Imagine if someone just had the win condition. But you know what I mean? Like.
Imagine if Surrender was president of the world.
Yeah, I think that'll be all right.
Yeah, I'd love that.
But generally, what I'm trying to get at here is, at this point in the game, there are draws for Druid that will win games like this. Surrender's just not hitting them.
Yeah.
Time waits for no one.
And
Is
Vulture
he really considering
into Vulture.
anything other than Swipe trade?
Is he thinking about whether a taunt actually is better? It can't be. 'Cause swipe kills 3 minions.
Yeah.
4 minions included with the one target. I mean, like the side swipe.
Yes.
Well, he's not dead. And not being dead gives Surrender more draws. And Surrender, like I said, just needs really one draw. I mean, look at if you draw a Hidden Oasis.
That's
Boom.
probably just game if he finds that.
That's what I mean. Like, it's literally one
Yeah.
good draw away from winning this game, and that seems absurd for me to say based on how the game's been going so far.
Okay. The Howler really not all too bad. Flurry, of course, wants to fit in the Giant on this turn, which I guess he can actually do. He has to forego the Evil Recruiter, of course.
Fine.
But yeah, fine.
A 5/5 is smaller than an 8/8.
Yeah. Well, Evil Recruiter is kind of an 8/8, but I guess he doesn't get to play the other stuff too. So
Most importantly, it's not as susceptible to Starfall.
good point.
Oof. Surrender's like, whoa, the Giant as well? Come on.
Come on. Yeah, now even Hidden Oasis is starting to look a little more suspect.
Still pretty good, though.
It's still pretty good, yeah.
What was that? Ah, bad card, okay. Well,
Very bad card.
again,
It's an insane swipe.
Surrender's still,
Yeah.
out of 5 cards that do something, he can only play one of them.
Well, could play 3 of them. Wouldn't recommend it.
Okay. Maybe he should.
It does have benefits, right? Like, if he doesn't hit a 6-cost card, or sorry, a 5+ cost spell on the next turn.
Look how many of those are left in the deck.
Yeah, I agree he should be optimistic. Whew, Zentimo cleared off just in time, lest Flurry destroy his entire board and buff everything else by +3/+3.
Imagine that with if you can proc it with the egg. You know, if you ran the second egg with the 3/1/1.
Zentimo Grim Rally.
Sick, so much buffs. Well,
He's alive, and
He's
he
alive.
just needs to hit a big spell.
or I guess a Surger? Oh, well, okay, not now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pre
Yes.
that
yeah, of
buff.
course. Or actually, it would still do it. If he'd hit Surgery, he could have gone Floop as well. It would still have got him there.
True. And
That doesn't do it, though.
this is a story of not drawing any of the good Druid cards.
It was such an insane starting hand.
Yeah.
Like, he had Wrath, Loti, Crystal Merchant, even got a Druid of the Scythe. Like, it was such a good starting hand. But he just missed everything.
And honestly, although, yes, he had a great starting hand, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the time, it's not the starting hand that actually wins you the game,
Yeah.
even though it helps him get there. But there were so many cards he could have drawn that were good. Even Ferocious Howl was a good draw.
Why not?
You know, and any of the high cost spells were good draws as well. It's absolutely insane. But Flurry takes a good win. Game number 1, and the Zoo gets there. We'll be right back with game number 2 between Flurry and Surrender.
Well known for their top-notch performance and long-time efforts in the local fan community. We've created a special and memorable Hearthstone-themed weekend.
Music Time Stadium.
我是陈泰不要，英文 ID 是 Brocho， 住在台湾。抱抱博士吧，因为他的天生技蛮强的，我觉得好像都已经被发掘了，所以基本上之后应该都那些卡了。第一赛季哦，第一赛季应该算还可以吧，就赢的跟输的都没比较多，就平7胜7败，还算可以接受。因为下个赛季跟上次的赛季不同，要准备4套牌。不过如果准备3套针对同一副的，他就不要上那副就可以了。所以还要再想一下要怎么准备。因为有换组啊，这次过来的好像都韩国选手，所以大家实力都蛮强的吧，就要更努力准备一点。就新的赛季应该会比较好，因为之前只要准备1套牌啊，然后备牌5张，就只要准备40张就可以了。想要准备4套，所以会比较花时间吧。不过现在没有在打炉石的话，我应该去工作了吧，所以炉石现在就是我全部吧，因为现在就要尽力打好大师赛。
We are back with Surrender versus Flurry. Flurry currently leading 1-0 versus Surrender. Surrender just couldn't quite get hold of any good Druid cards in the mid game to help him take it there versus Zoo. Whereas now Surrender still has all his classes available, and Flurry just has his Highlander Hunter and his Quest Shaman. And what are you liking here? I think I like Hunter for Flurry.
Hunter for Flurry versus Druid. Yeah, sure. I can see that.
Out of everything, I think.
Yeah, it's all right against the Priest for the most part, and we did just get confirmation. It's a Hunter Mirror. It's been a while since we've seen one of those.
It is.
And
I miss those days.
Yeah. How does this matchup play out? I honestly, I still haven't played that much of Highlander Hunter because when it reached its peak, I've always felt like it's on the downswing and less and less players are going to be bringing it. And I still feel like it's not necessarily the strongest deck at the moment. But, what are you looking for in this matchup? To what extent is it a classic Hunter mirror, which is to say all about tempo and face damage?
Honestly, for me, it feels like exactly like a classic Hunter mirror. The Highlander thing doesn't change much. Yes, of course, if one side has board and they play Zephyrus into Savage Roar or Bloodlust, yeah, you lose. Welcome to Hearthstone right now.
Yeah.
But that is only gained by one Hunter getting the board advantage, and that's all the game is all about. So although it's a Highlander deck and got slightly different style, you're really still aiming to do exactly the same things.
So you like the keep of 1-drop and
companion
in the mulligan?
Play stuff. You just want stuff on the board. Because also, you don't have... The only thing to consider, there isn't as consistency of snapbacks that Hunter can have of, like, say, they don't run double Unleash the Hounds. They don't run double Spring Paw. They don't run double Hyena.
Yeah.
All these early cards where in the mid-range Hunter Mirror or Beast Hunter, you used to have to think, okay, if I play my Hyena, it's probably just got Spring Paw, and it dies.
Yeah.
Whereas now, probably don't. And you just play stuff out because it's just not as likely that they have the response. But cards like Desert Spear can get some really good work done in the early game here.
That's true, because I remember in the old mid-range Beast Hunter mirrors, as you were saying, a surprising amount of time the player who went the player who went Diamol into Razormaw would not win the game. Like, the player on the other side had comeback in the form of Unleash plus Spring Paw and Timberwolf and all that stuff.
There were answers.
Yeah.
And whereas now, I think you just play stuff. Again,
I'm on
won't necessarily see Zephyrus right now because guess what? If you Zephyrus into Animal Companion, you can Animal Companion anyway. You're
Already
playing
got
Hunter.
Yeah, I think if he had no other 2-drops, I'd hear it out a lot more to go for a 2-mana 3/2. But Zephyrus is not that much better than just playing a Snake Trap, so I like saving it for whatever's good in the matchup. A nice quick kill with a Shadow at Pain, perhaps, if they play something like that, or just very possibly a Savage Roar to go.
Flurry now checking Secret Stage 1. He knows it's not Snipe. And what this does here is if it is Snipe, then his punish is relatively low.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was Pressure Play and he played Animal Companion, he just did 3 mana proc a Secret, do nothing, which is horrible. So now Flurry just going through the motions.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
A little bit awkward here from Surrender, as this is one of the few minions that, well, no one can really clean up that easily early game.
Do you just equip Spear and pass?
Probably, yeah.
Equip Spear, swing face?
And
Swing into the... you don't want to swing into the Snip Snap, right? There's
oh,
needless
you just
damage.
you go swing face, get a 1/1,
Yeah.
and it procs Snake Trap if it's dealt
Exactly.
with. Yeah, I like that because also if Zephyrus like goes into Ooze to kill your weapon, fantastic. You know, you use your Zephyrus to kill my 1 attack weapon.
That's right.
I like it. And what I do like is saving coin, because I think coin with Surrender's Hand is going to be pretty sick. Where's he going to swing in?
Wow.
Oh, so he's testing the secret too.
And he's met with some pretty bad news because Flurry, with the Zephyrus in hand, takes some pretty decent advantage of this. Just power the wild.
Trades. I'm surprised he traded. Wait,
Really?
Surrender has Snake Trap, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so you would think he leaves the
Yeah,
one?
just
on
leaves
the
it
left,
up.
Flurry. Okay, fair enough.
See if he trades into it. He might do. He's got Snake.
That's fair.
Because right now, Flurry always has the board, whereas
Yeah.
if he leaves the 1/1, he
Sometimes
doesn't
you swing it back.
necessarily have the board all the time.
Yeah.
So that there's something there, right?
Do you like Zephyrus Power the Wild here?
Over the...
Is the board good enough already and you should just go for the Ooze to take care of the
I
weapon?
think it might be better to kill the weapon.
Okay.
The weapon's a bit of a pain.
I think I like Power of the World. I think I like just ramping up the damage.
What I
and just
don't like
making
is
it more
SI7 Infiltrator.
Agreed.
I move quickly.
I think I just
Because-
want to get the damage going.
Ooze is kind of the damage going.
Fair.
Flurry, you're a madman.
What?
What is going on?
Oh, he thinks it's explosive. Okay. I guess maybe we were letting Cast Division get to us a little bit there because we obviously know it's snakes.
If it's explosive, it's the sickest bait for Surrender to trade the 1/1 into a snake.
That's
It's
true.
like,
That is a good bait
what?
for explosives.
What? That's crazy. I guess he might have thought it's explosive because Surrender hit into the Snip Snap.
Yeah,
There's
that's what I'm saying.
There's
Yeah.
multi-levels of this. But also, if it was explosive, then he could have just tested it first and then did Zephyrus into buff afterwards.
This is so
And
much
just
mind
have
games.
if that was explosive, he tests it first, it explodes. He has 2 1/1s. He plays Zephyrus, then Power of the Wilds, and has a 4/3 and 2 2/2s against a spear.
I guess.
Like, why would you play Zephyrus into a Power of the Wild board?
Yeah.
Power of the Wild, an explosive trap board.
I
Right?
don't know. Yeah.
I'm just
I think that was
confused.
a bit
I'm just
weird.
confused. Yeah.
Precision. Perfection.
Coin, like I said, coming in pretty clutch with the way Surrender's Hand was shaped. But there's the Infiltrator gone. And don't get me wrong, Infiltrator's a 5/4. Something to sniff at.
Yeah, it's fine.
But out of those options, I thought any of the other options were better.
Do you want Zephyrus to be fine, though? You want it to be winning you the game a lot of the
I want it
time.
to be cool.
I want it to be perfect.
I wonder.
Could be a full board clear. If he wants to commit to it.
Is that better than just playing Subject 9 though? I think I prefer the Subject 9. Even though you're overdrawing,
And
I want to just rip those cards from my deck and develop a 4/4.
yep, Subject 9 is never going to be a bad play here. The only weird thing is it makes your draws better, but you have a ton of stuff to do anyway in the next like 3-4 turns.
That's true, but other than that, you're developing a 2/3?
Wait, are you developing a 2-3?
Well,
about-
so you're double trading in Deadly Shot? Let's clear the board.
And then, but then you have Unleash the Beast into his turn. Then you have either another Unleash the Beast or Tiamat into his turn.
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know. I think Surrender can just use his cards now.
I would play Subject 9 here. I think that
Okay.
it's worth giving yourself the flexibility of the secrets. Because, you know, maybe you don't want to place Unleash the Hounds on the next turn. It's not always good. You probably are usually happy with it. I do agree it's close there.
My worry now is what if there's just like a really hard tempo play? Your secrets don't stop tempo. Unleash the Beast kind of does sometimes.
What do you expect? Oh, I guess you're expecting to see Savannah high main
I
as
mean,
the biggest tempo play.
there's like Kill Command Weapon.
right.
I guess that doesn't do much. I mean, this is a problem. Kill Command now or Freezing Trap. Well, you probably Kill Command because he knows there's a Lynx in hand.
But like either way, with like if you just go for a move with the Deadly Shot, they can still make a big tempo play, and you're in a worse situation because you have less card draw. Good burn.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like Surrender was almost always playing Unleash the Beast this turn, and then he's almost always playing Tiamat the turn after.
I think that's
in
a
which,
fair
if that's the
assumption.
case, he's taking like 10 extra damage that he didn't need to take.
Maybe
and
you're right. Maybe you're right.
obviously, don't get me wrong. This is because of how it's turned out.
Yeah.
And this is the way it's happened. But Subject 9's a great card at the end of the deck. But now he's took 10 damage.
Yeah.
He's burning cards. There's Tiamat. He had Unleash the Beast into Tiamat into Subject 9 Secret. And he could have just saved damage. And the problem is, as is always the case in Hunter Mirrors, if you fall behind on health, by this much, your turns get worse and worse and worse because Flurry now just freely plays whatever's the most aggressive option every single turn, almost mindlessly. And I'm not saying it's mindless from Flurry, but I'm saying in a Hunter Mirror,
I see.
that's what the game becomes. If one of you does significant damage to the other without taking any damage back, you just kill him.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's very possible. I just think for Surrender, on the other hand, if he doesn't go for Subject 9 and he gets a few bad draws, and Flurry has like Zul'jin in hand, maybe he's just starting to lose on value in the mid game.
I don't know what the bad draws are though, because even if you just math it out onto Unleash the Beast, Tiamat, into Subject 9 Secret,
Yeah. Okay.
you've kind of done the same
Fair
thing,
enough.
except
Yeah,
you played some
okay.
secrets instead of not playing secrets. Again, easy for me to say with the outcome that's happened, but even if there was a high main, Unleash the Beast into a high main flat on board. There's only 2 2/2s, and then you have either Zephyrus or another Unleash. Or, I guess, on turn 7 you could Subject 9 and Explosive Trap, or whatever. So I think it actually gave him more options to do the thing that didn't draw cards, which sounds weird.
Yeah.
I lose quickly.
But maybe I'm too bothered about taking damage in this matchup. I just feel like you're always on the back foot now. Freezing Trap, again, negated, although you could just play Snipe Freezing Trap, which would be pretty sick,
Play
actually.
around the links. Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah,
it's not the worst idea I've ever heard. But here's Deadly Shot into Explosive Trap. And that's not really going to be able to be played around. Ooh. Okay, so here now is like the first, what you could argue, slow turn from Flurry. This is like the first turn in the game where he's not done something better than okay. It's not a bad turn, but it's definitely not great. Whereas Surrender now can maybe leverage all these cards he has and actually do something. But as always is the case, 1, we can see Zul'jin, but 2, can Surrender do enough fast enough? Because Flurry's getting close to that awful point in the mirror where you can just press hero power every turn and win.
That's right. And Surrender's starting to find his own aggressive options now. Maybe he could wrestle this back before Flurry gets the high power in.
if it's freezing. Oh, he might have to just play it. My issue
It's
is,
so rough.
but does he just lose if
Yeah.
he doesn't? Like, if he doesn't play it, he loses, right? He needs to catch up on damage. If he doesn't play it, then what can he even do this turn? I guess he could unleash the beast into the 1/1 and hope, and then play freezing. He has to. I think he has
Feels
to.
horrendous. Feels absolutely horrendous. But I agree. It's his only play.
Yeah. Honestly, it looks really bad for Surrender.
Oh, it's like the best freezing trap I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is.
Just killed a King Crush.
But if it was any other secret in the
Yeah.
whole deck,
It was the
he's
play.
fine. Yeah.
So now we're obviously looking at I think, fairly easy Zul'jin. But I guess Flurry doesn't necessarily have that much value loaded into it with no Unleash the Beast of his own. It's mainly secrets.
He could
Wow.
just Ursatron. Like I said, we'll very quickly get to the point where Hero Power. Just Hero Power. Hit face Hero Power.
Okay, I guess it's mainly going to destroy his own minions. Fair enough.
He gets the 3/1 down.
Yep.
He
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
face. He pushes 5 damage this turn. If he does that 2 more times, his opponent's pretty much dead.
Fair enough.
And he knows there isn't a King Crush coming down to hit him. Unless Surrender's teched in that 1-mana beast. Reduces the cost of a beast in hand. The little raptor dude.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a death rattle, though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or a Scarlet Web Weaver.
Now that would be sick.
For exactly this situation and no other. So, Unleash the Beast killed the Ursatron freezing trap feels beyond horrendous.
We're playing the game where we name all the bad plays.
That's every play. Every play is a bad
We're going to
play.
be here a while, guys.
He's got to do something. Does he just play every secret? Maybe that's best. Just 4 secrets. Just say, whatever, everything's bad. Just mess up. Make a mistake.
He cannot play Rat Trap because Flurry literally doesn't have the cards to proc it.
Yeah, sure.
Surrender with the sick play, giving him a card that already has Rush. We've seen this strategy work before. Oh, he's going to play Rat Trap. I guess technically Flurry has 3 cards now. Genius.
Fair enough.
Hey, Surrender has to do some big things to win this game, okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's
And
not.
by big, I mean big.
It's not even necessarily about the actual secret. It's just the threat of every secret that each secret represents. So of course there is an opposing minion now, so Zul'jin obviously more likely to help in some way, rather than just destroy his own board. But do you think Flurry still just goes with Zilliax?
Precision.
Gets those hero powers in?
Yeah, just get it on. You're feeling good, right? No matter what the secret is, you're fine. He knows it's not explosive because it's been played, so he could just... He never dies.
Yeah.
It's a little bit tight just because he can't replay anything this turn and hero power, but if he couldn't kill the Shaw last turn... Oh! I think me, you, and Surrender just made all the same noise at the same time in the world. Because we're all feeling that one. Zul'jin off the top. He gets freezing back. He gets explosive back.
Yep. Do you just play it, or do you attack or trade first?
Probably attack.
Has he played Animal Companion?
Well,
For
he's
Leo?
played Unleash. So he'd get the 5/5. You just want to kill the board, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just wondering if it's likely
Wait,
to
did he
pull up his
attack
own
face?
guy. He did attack
Oh,
face, yeah.
okay, sick. Well, oh yeah, you know what? Sure, he doesn't
Deadly
die.
shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
deadly shot,
yeah.
deadly shot. Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't actually die from it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just correct.
What? Is this the most absurd comeback I've ever seen?
Hands on his head for Flurry. He's just thinking, oh, please no. Please no. He was so close to getting the game. His own Zul'jin is just so much weaker.
King Crush got freezing trapped. Surrender played a 7-mana 2/4 do nothing, and he might win this game.
Oh no, sorry, I beg your pardon. It's a 7-mana SI7 Infiltrator that has -3 attack.
It's a 7 mana King Crush that doesn't charge, isn't a beast, and has a 2/4 stat line.
Yes. I feel like we're saying the same thing here.
Always on the same wavelength.
Here comes
Yes, Flurry's like, look, Zul'jin, his one was really good. You better be good too. Ooh, probably hoping for face, although that's good. It's
Explosive, yeah.
The Huffer.
Good one. Well, you can... Oh, no, he gets frozen. I was going to say you could trade it.
job done.
Was that wrong?
This just procs the most secrets.
But he wants snakes to proc, right? Does he want snakes to proc?
Does he even have Explosive Trap in play?
Flurry?
Flurry.
Flurry,
I don't know if he does.
did he play Explosive Trap this game? Surrender 100% did, we just saw it go
Yes,
off.
yeah. I think we got like...
Maybe not.
It's freezing and snakes. And then... I
What
can't
was
remember
the
what the
other
third one is. Snipe? Hard to keep track of both players.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna
It's the same, it's just like the bombs in Bomb Warrior. If it's a mirror match, you're like, well, he's got some bombs and he's got some bombs. That's all I've got. But there's freezing and it is not explosive.
Yeah. Then, sure. You don't want to take that damage.
Just gonna win
this
this game. What is going on? I think there's literally no cards that kill him next turn,
Yeah.
which means he can... okay, so there are
King
some
Crush Hero Power
instances.
doesn't do it.
Unleash would if he went wide into it.
Yeah, okay.
What if he just plays another
what
Unleash
I
the
gonna
Beast?
do with you?
Unleash the Beast. Snipe Hero Power. Does that seem good?
What about Hyena Alpha double snip snap wide as possible, lose to Unleash the Hounds?
If you Flurry, or a Flurry fan, it's probably a good play.
Yes, please. Yep. I'm on board with this.
Surrender clearly went to the school of Raven's Hunter abilities. Or more realistically, the other way around.
He's good at Hearthstone, yeah.
Oh!
Ooh. So what are we looking at? 7-9 damage?
If he hadn't played Snipe, how much would he be on now?
So can he trade anything to survive for the out of King Crush? Because of course snakes are going to come into play. So if he goes Huffer,
You can
or
also Wing
Ziliax?
Blast. You can also Wing Blast a
that's
5.
true, yeah. So what if he goes Huffer and then trade to get more snakes?
Won't work.
Why not?
Well, from Flurry's point it might, but Huffer's going to get sniped.
Oh, yeah, of course, sorry. So, yeah, Ziliax then, right?
He's gonna hurt.
Yeah, I like Ziliax Unleashed, because he knows that it's snakes, of course. And I think he can be pretty sure about Snipe as well, considering it's the last secret, unless it's Pressure Plate, I guess. It's so confusing, man.
It
It's
just
so
looks
it's
really
so densely complicated. And I just don't think Flurry can even fit it all in now before
Nope.
the rope burns.
Yes.
That was just
Yes.
wow.
Let's get that 2 damage to the dome.
So oh no, I was about to call it game. 1 damage off lethal here. I was wrong. Zephyrus to the rescue.
Hey! Just in time.
There's nothing.
You just do the attacks first, just to make sure you're good.
Yep.
Because you don't need on-board damage, you don't need Bloodlust, you don't need anything fancy, you just need a Fireball, or a Frostbolt, or a Gore Howl, or
Damn.
whatever the heck. What?
That was a swing.
That, honestly, I don't quite understand what happened. Maybe Flurry should have just slammed Zul'jin and said, there we go. But
He only got an animal companion out of it. It just destroyed his own board on average.
that's true. It's what? So he just didn't get any solid draws for like what, 2 turns, 3
Yeah.
turns ish. There was like a 2 to 3 turn period, and then the Unleash the Beasts just stacked for surrender. Like Unleash into Zul'jin is so big because Zul'jin does more than just random stuff. A lot of the time, you have minions to rush into. Sometimes it kills you, Unleash the Beast.
Yep.
But if you make enough of them, there aren't enough kill commands in the deck to kill them all, so you end up being able to trade and gain board advantage. That was huge. I still think Surrender could have played the mid game better. I think he would have had he could have had a smoother game because he would have been on plus potentially upwards of between 5 and 10 extra health, which I think would have been a big deal and less dicey. But yeah, I mean, he got it together and evened up the score. That's actually crazy.
He did.
That does not happen often with Hunter Mirrors. It's crazy.
It really doesn't. And I think on the other side, we could argue that Flurry could have tightened up his play in the mid game. The turn where he played Zephyrus, I think, was very suspect, all things considered. Like, I understand after he's played Zephyrus, from his perspective, SI7 Infiltrator is arguably the best pick. I can understand that because he's afraid of Explosive Trap. Right. He doesn't want to lose his whole board to that. I think there were better plays he could have made before he even played the Zephyrus that could have put him in a better position against Explosive Trap.
Yeah, and that's what I don't get, though. I think if it was ever Explosive Trap, you had a good enough board to proc it and carry on the game.
Yeah.
Because he had a Snip Snap that, yes, dies, but you end up with 2 tokens. And the Explosive Trap's gone. So I think there was points, if the Explosive Trap was the deciding factor on that turn, well, one, you wouldn't ever play a Zephyrus into Oh, wait. Did he do what I did the other day? How much mana did he have left after Zephyrus? 2?
2.
He thought I was going to give him Flare, right?
Oh, do you reckon?
It's exactly what happened to me the other day. Remember I told you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he thought he was going to get Flare and didn't. That explains a lot.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I don't understand why it doesn't give you Flare if you've got 2.
Why would it give SI7 Infiltrator instead of Flare? Because it values the body higher? When you only have 2 mana instead of 4? That seems bad.
But this is similar to what happened to me.
Yeah.
In that Flare wasn't actually offered because maybe one secret doesn't look scary enough, but surely that's beside the point. But anyway, maybe I have to go back and watch that game just to make sure. But I feel like maybe that's what he did. If you had 2 mana available, then suddenly Zephyrus into Flare, attack everything. You have a 3-2, 3-2, 1-1-1-1, and 2-2 Snip Snap.
Yeah.
Board's pretty good, actually. Kind of hard to deal with. So I think that does make sense. But again, that's just tough. We'll have to look more into the intricacies of Mr. Zephyrus to find out about that one. But let's mosey on to get ready for it. The last game of the day here at Asia Pacific. Grandmasters. Surrender on the top on the Druid, and he's going to come into Flurry on the Quest Shaman. And this matchup's super weird.
It is. Who right now? Who's going to win, Raven? Who are you putting in the lead right now, if you had to take a guess?
I'm going to say Surrender.
I'm going to agree with you.
Not for once, not because it's Surrender.
Okay.
I honestly think when Shaman wins this matchup, it's because it's done the really broken things. Yeah. And I think the consistency in which the Shaman does the broken things is not high enough for me to pick a Shaman in this matchup. But it can definitely win. It's not like completely favored one way or the other. I just think Druid always does the busted things, and Shaman needs to pull something out of the bag.
Ooh, they pick up a Floop as well. Starting to look good now for Surrender.
I mean, there's a hidden there's a Oasis Surge in his hand, so got to feel pretty favored there.
Yeah, exactly, especially with the Floop into Oasis Surge. It's only a Nourish that he's missing now, or I guess a Starfall, because, you know,
as a safety net.
Exactly. There's stuff that could go wrong.
Of course it's the right way.
Good pickup of the Questing Explorer there. Means this board's just a little bit beefier. Not tons, but a little bit.
Yeah, it just makes it a little bit more awkward because, of course, it's vulnerable to swipe on this turn, but unless there's a Vate as well, you are less likely to be seeing that come down from Surrender.
I really like Witchwood Piper in this list, by the way.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's as close to a tutor effect without it being one as you can probably get, because you always know at worst a selection of minions it could draw.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time or towards mid to late game, you know the minion it will draw. And also that minion's not always, I'll say bad in the sense that 1-drops normally aren't game-winning late game. But
In this deck, they are.
They are, and also it can end up drawing you higher drops, right?
Yeah.
3 drops, 4 drops, which look a bit more powerful in certain circumstances. So I just think having just the one there just fills out the curve a little bit better. Is a nice target for Mutate as well, going to a 5 drop, and also just if you want to draw. Which the one thing I always have with this deck is just it's got a massive lack of card draw. Good card generation,
Yeah.
but sometimes you want to draw your cards in your deck because you put them there because they're good.
Yeah, I really like Flurry's list of 1 Piper. I've seen a few knocking about the run 2, which I think
2 is probably a bit heavy.
a bit overkill. Yeah, your hand can just get cluttered, and that is the other thing that I think this deck can run into the problem of, is you generate 1 trillion cards over the course of a game, but all of them have 1 attack, or you're playing a 4-mana 3/3, so who cares?
Right.
You just haven't done anything in terms of affecting the game, and at that point, oh wait a second, I've just died to Holy Wrath to the face.
Nice, I'll say early to average quest accomplishment.
Why is
From
it
Flurry's
always
side.
Totemic Might and Totemic whatever the plus attack one's called? I swear this come up a very disproportionately high amount of the time.
I got them a lot from Haggard. I've been playing the Control Shaman,
Oh yeah.
which I queued 1 deck today. Ran into Control Warrior.
Lasted
I procced
an hour?
the Elysiana Battlecry 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah, still lost.
Needless to say, the computer is out of the window.
I turned it off, I'll say after that. But yeah, I ran into the one guy playing Control Warrior on ladder. Come on.
Were they playing Elysiana as well, I'm guessing?
Oh, yeah.
Even though no one does that on ladder.
Oh yeah. Elysiana's all over the show. There were 4 Elysianas played in 1 game.
Disgusting. Well, speaking of the Nourish, that was arguably not necessary, but nice for Surrender to have to keep things in check. It's playable on this turn, and could go for it to make the board smaller to play around Mogu, but I think I agree, especially with a Floop in hand, this seems perfectly powerful enough.
Yep. I like Surger.
Time waits for no one.
And the thing as well is, as turns tick on now for Surrender, what he'll really be keeping an eye on is if he can get Loti into Starfall, which does way more versus Shaman than just a flat Starfall. Because all the minions that aren't 1 health feel like they're 3 health.
Good point.
Which means that the Loti Starfall often clears the board,
Yeah.
almost no matter what it looks like. And this is one of the weirder issues, or the thing I feel the most in this matchup is, yes, you know, and his Lackeys is good, but honestly, the best card in the hand here is Mogu and Wasp, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, outside of maybe the Kobold. Because all this stuff like chips away at Druid, but Surrender's
You
got
want a
2
chunk.
Surrender's got 2 Surgers on the board.
Yeah.
His minions are better than Flurry's, like, in general. So, ooh, is he going to trade this off? As you said, hand size can be a bit of an issue.
Squishy.
And get the double health buff to make it live.
Little time.
Just a shame there was no Witchy Lucky generated there. I think he was, if not banking on it, like really, really hoping for it there to give him an upswing in his power level.
Just going to dunk it down. Lackey to face.
But like it does look a bit like a, speaking of dunking, quite like it looks a bit like a donkey in my opinion.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like a biscuit or something. It's like, where are you going with this, though?
Yeah, there's one thing I believe in, it's that kobolds look like
We
biscuits.
said about dunking, you dunk a biscuit into a tea.
Yeah, you do.
Now though, Surrender just going for this Starfall. Just keeping it simple. Getting this Mogu off the board, which is priority number 1.
Yeah, yeah.
You've just got away with no Mutate. You don't want Flurry to just top deck a Mutate and then you're like, yeah, I really wish I killed that.
Yeah, just get rid of it. It's perfectly good enough. Especially, as, again, next turn. Floop Oasis Surger, Loti, gets insane. It's pretty good though. This is a lot of damage. And there is little healing for Surrender.
Yeah, Ferocious Howl is there, and he has double card draw. He could just spend this turn like Wrath, Howl. I don't think I'd be too upset with that.
Would you not rather see... so wait, 8 mana, do you ever die from 12 health? Hero Power, Life Drink? I don't think so. I think you're pretty safe.
Well, you're not on 12 because you Howl.
Right, no, sorry. I'm wondering
Oh,
if you
you're
can
doing
get
something
away
else.
with
Okay, sorry.
doing something else. Yeah, so I'm looking at Oasis Surger, Loti, and then just clear the board. Plays around MCT, puts strong stats on the board. It's not that weak to Sandstorm.
The only and sinking hunter. In Druid as well. Honestly, I like at least wrathing, because one, that's a minion you do want to kill. The Oasis Surges might be better later. And also, this cycles through your deck, and I feel like if Surrender gets like a hidden Oasis, he just wins. I went for the halfway house, okay.
Was this really better than Loti though? Like, that just gets more stats on the board. You can start killing them.
But this also leaves more stats on the board, right? Because the Murloc would have done 4 to something. That was a 4-3.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
This is enough, right? 5-4. 5-5.
Of course it's the right way.
Fair enough. And the Wraths come in. Pretty nice here to mop up the rest of the board.
Double howl.
As does the howl,
Well.
of course. Is he going to howl again and Wrath?
Doesn't
Or
look too bad to me.
Crystal Merchant Wrath? Draw a card as well.
I think he doesn't need to do that. My worry's board. You don't want to have stuff on the board that makes MCT a problem.
That's very
And if
true.
you're ever considering Loti, then you don't want to Crystal Merchant on the board either. So I think I really like just use your spells. Just cycle, gain health, like remove these minions easily. Wrath is sick. Like just cycle, cycle, cycle. As soon as you've got some more healing in the in hand, then you can just go if you want. But I think Surrender might be able to just win with these 2 Oasis searches, which is often the case with Druid, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing Flurry can do about taking 10 damage a turn.
Yeah, these Oasis Surges are very, very strong.
And soon, Zephyrus is going to be live, which will also help dramatically increase the time, or decrease the time, sorry, in which this game lasts.
Also, the mind control tech for Surrender, while it may look very innocuous at the moment, could be a very good counter MCT in order to swing back a minion on his side of the board if Flurry ever finds his MCT.
We're going to have to use this to clear off some stuff. Reduces some of this damage down. Does use up like all his cards. Yes, Shudderwock is going to refill some stuff. But again, like this is the phase I find myself often either side of this matchup is actually a bunch of lackeys better than Druid cards? Like, no, it's great value, but it's just not. Like, look at this board again.
Yeah.
Like, what's Shudderwock going to do?
And this is why it's important to find some of the other early cards, which Flurry missed most of, like Evil Totem, fantastic, Mogu Mutate, of course.
Even the former champ helps a lot in this matchup.
Yeah.
There we go. Because it's stuff. Whereas all these little things just get completely eclipsed by the sheer just size of the Druid minions.
That's right.
And like I said, look, it's a great turn. It's a great Shudderwock. But it needs to be a game-winning Shudderwock.
It's pretty good, to be honest. Pretty good. With the Mogu as well to cheat out yet more mana. Like, we could see...
I think he evolves the Shudderwock, right?
Mogu you could go Mogu Evolve for an 8-drop instead.
No, he went 10. Colossus of the Moon, bro.
Well, yeah. I mean, but a
you-
lot of the time you're upgrading +2/+2.
But do you want Mogu to trade?
That's the
Huh? Whoa! Okay. Pipe? I don't know. I think there's some good 10 drops. There's a couple of bad ones, of course, but...
Yeah, fair.
He like... I don't know.
There's a fair few 8/8s. But there's obviously Hexlord Malachar as well. And I think the main argument, which I actually definitely agree with, was that the trade of the Mogu was pretty
Felt
important.
better. Because
Yeah.
look at the amount of cards Surrender has. You think he's not got removal?
Truth. Wow.
Wait, does he just have... No, okay. I was thinking about whether he'd worked it out that you could just draw and have a high chance at lethal or something. I was like, what? Oh, look at this turn.
I mean, I was looking pretty heavily there at,
Like Starfawn.
yeah, Loti Starfall to just clear off the board. You can even get rid of one of your minions, trading it into the 5/5 to
I mean, you could just
play around
Arius as well,
MCT.
that's not so bad.
Yeah, I guess.
Because I think there's also a point that he might have to play around it. I guess he can now. If he's playing exactly 4 minions, or wants to play 5, then he can reduce this down a lot. But this felt a little bit weird to me.
And Surrender does need to be careful. He's not out of the woods yet at all. This is not just a mop-up operation.
Oh, okay then.
Okay. That's a lot shoved into a Shudderwalk there, just to clear it off.
Yeah, I think Surrender might have stumbled a little bit across that turn and thought, oh wait, mind control tech. Whoops, trade, go. Because I think that was not the most efficient turn you could make.
I agree. Surrender does not have access to Chef Nomi either, so it's not like by playing the Nourish he's turboing through to his win condition. He needs these minions that he has in play to be able to take the victory, because by playing the Nourish as well, his King Phaeorus gets a lot weaker.
This has been one of the weirdest series of Hearthstone ever. It doesn't come close to the World Finals, because that was weird.
Yeah.
And you can hear it through my casting, in which I just say sounds.
Okay.
No, what the? Me and Sol just spend the whole cast going, what is this game of Hearthstone?
What is occurring here?
But this has been a weird one so far, with the
really
Hunter
has.
Mirror and now this matchup going very back and forth. Because again, Flurry put forward a really strong board then, but there's just like enough from Surrender to remove it, which feels like there shouldn't be, but there is. But Flurry's not out of it yet. He does have the Ethereal Lackey and some, you know, Earthquake. Could be pretty sweet.
Where there's an Ethereal, there's a Dream. Lightning Bolts, more damage. Was that better than Lava Burst?
Evocation.
Yeah, I like the
Second
Evocation
Shudder.
here. Yeah.
It's because of this turn, right? The Lava Burst.
He wants to fit it in on
I think he wants to bolt. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, he
I can
worked
get
it
behind
out
this.
very fast.
I think that was actually pretty good recognition.
Yeah.
Considering the speed he pitched that lightning bolt, it was like,
Right, I mean,
wow, he knew he could do this.
I thought that was just a pick for push damage face, in which case I was thinking just take the higher damage one. But props to him, works out very nicely.
Oh, Hammersmith, okay.
Was about to order lol there, but worked out. I think that was probably correct order as well.
Wait, what
because-
was the order, lol?
Well, because I was thinking if he traded in minions, but he didn't with the Armor Smith. I was thinking if he wants the Knife Juggler,
Get the mana.
but he could get mana. And I think the downside's worse.
Oh,
than the
yeah,
upside.
yeah, because it changes based on what deck you're playing and what you're doing.
Yeah.
But Flurry needed to make a board this turn. And that guarantees that he does.
Earthen Might technically active.
Ooh, whoops.
Double damage Stegatron. Now we're talking.
Set each player's mana crystals to 5 twice.
Yeah. Or 6 mana, do nothing.
Well, these suck.
I found that out the hard way with the Tombs of Terror, that the artifact that gives your creatures that cost 2 or less poisonous has pretty good anti-synergy with Injured Tolvir.
Oh.
Just kills itself.
It's actually pretty funny.
And I played it, and then I looked back and I was like,
Wait a minute.
oh yeah.
You can't play this in Priest. Playmasters and Tolvirs just die. Oh.
Okay, we're taking it
I like
back to
it.
the start
I like
here
it.
for Flurry.
There's little time.
And if you look at how it works, most of Surrender's hand now is just bad.
You know, the bad hand. Just a hand that's one turn away from letting Zephyrus making it good again.
Wise words.
Not active yet with only 6 cards left in the deck.
Yeah, what is it actually that he's got 2 of left? Is it is it Nourish? Because he got 1, but it was off of.
Oh, did you discover that one?
He discovered it off of the Worthy Expedition.
Oh, wow. Nourish last
Or
2
is it
cards.
Hidden Oasis? I think
No,
it's
he
Hidden
played one,
Oasis.
he played one.
Oh, he played one. Okay, yeah.
I thought he played one. Oh, guys, end of the 6th match. We're sorry, we suck, and we don't have deck tracker.
We do not have deck track.
Just because you hear those over in Americas and EU casting have it, doesn't mean we do. So don't judge us too heavily.
A different story here.
We're old school. Well, this is looking pretty bad for Flurry. Although that's
If he can hit
All right.
Barista,
all right.
will be talking.
In a few turns when he gets the mana to play them.
Yes, imagine if he hadn't played the Mojo Master Z. He'd be laughing.
He'd be dead.
He'd be long dead.
But still.
But if he hadn't played that and hadn't died and had drawn the Barista as the next card,
I wonder.
I can actually see this Ancient of War.
was that you saying, sorry, I can see it or I can't
Yeah, I
see
can,
it?
I can.
Okay. I
Because
wasn't sure if you're
it-
saying I like this play
Yeah,
or
sorry.
I'm going
I like
blind.
this play. Well, I like the Ancient of War. Ancient of Law play, sorry.
Yeah.
Just because it saves the spell for Feoris being a little bit better.
True.
It kind of does the same thing, except it's not a taunt, but you don't need it to be taunt right now.
Yeah.
And it drew a card, so I don't know. I liked it. Mutate. Look at this, trading you 2/4 Lackey Totem. Ugh. Ugh.
Feels horrible.
And now, are there even enough cards in the deck? Now that Flurry's played these and you assume these lackeys are going to die,
Yeah,
are there
I
even
don't know.
cards in the deck that add up to 31 in terms of damage? I think
If
there
he
might not be.
can hit Barista and both of these kobolds
It
survive.
never happens.
Which obviously never happens.
That's what I mean. Is there even
Yeah.
cards in the
I guess not.
that adds
Yeah.
up to 31? It's crazy.
Yes, you're right.
Surrender going for the heal on heal. Surrender MC tech to steal the totem. Full efficiency.
Sure.
I'm almost out of cards.
It was double Norwich. Wow.
That's pretty funny.
And you swiftly imagine a world in which Surrender didn't discover a Nourish. This game would look very different, I think.
Yeah. It's just pretty crazy that Surrender seems to have been able to get himself in this position, because in my experience, usually when we enter this case, when the Druid has been able to get no value off of King Feoris or Elise, anything else up until this point, it feels like the Shaman pulls into the lead, but there just hasn't been the cards necessary to get there. And I guess that's the result of not having drawn Barista
It was
Lynching.
shoulda walk before things like Barista, like former champ. But yeah, this is kind of why I've been highlighting. If you'll notice this weekend in most Quest Shaman, Barista is one of the key cards because I feel like that's actually the card that wins games. Without it,
I'm out of cards.
nourish, innovate. Let's have cards.
So,
This is actually a little bit annoying.
how do you work this one out? Elise copies all the cards you want if you just play it, pretty much. Apart from the Innovate, which is kind of sad. But if we were just to see Elise Innovate Zephyrus Shadowflame, I think that wins the game. Is there anything better than that, though? Oh, he's only at 9 mana, not 10.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I'm confused with that.
I'm trying to work out whether he could, like, release Zephyrus into lethal, but can't.
Mental dislocator.
Fine.
Haha.
Yeah, he's just gonna do the Elise Zephyrus, right?
Need a
give him
hand,
now.
Explorer?
Another MCT.
On 0?
Oh, it's on 0, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just interested what
forgot that
offers
first
him on 0, like backstab. It's not offering him backstab at all. Very interesting.
one. Pyroblast will do.
That'll ding dang do it.
Are there any upgrades at all that can get the win? If there are, I don't see
30?
them. Yeah.
Mecha thing? Oh no, he's got cards.
All face upgraded to Quarkron. Yeah, it's not bad.
To be fair to Flurry, well, I say to be fair, he's gonna just run through the motions, but he knows that Surrender has a Pyro. I don't think you'd pick any other minion. And that, my friend, is going to be the end of this series as Surrender takes it, and a sigh of relief, because I can understand. That was a ride. That was a ride, that series. I don't know what went on. And I was watching it quite intently. But yeah, a tough one overall, I think, for both players. I feel like Flurry was in some really strong positions, and I think both players could have changed a few plays that would have increased their outcomes in the matches, or in the game, should I say. But I think both times it looked so close in those two games. It was insane.
It really was. I think for... Yeah, I'm just trying to think back as to what the mid-game thing that was missing there for Flurry. And I guess for Surrender, his real genius in that game was just the fact that he threw away his resources so liberally, because it felt like at the end he hadn't got any value out of his big power cards.
Right.
But it was because he'd been slowly and incrementally just staying in the lead at all points in the game that he was able to go for the victory.
Whenever you can play 3 Oasis Surges and get value in a game that's very board focused, then you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Because those cards, not only are they good, obviously the Flute one is even stronger in terms of just raw stats, but you're trading into bad minions. Like, and by bad minions, I mean stats-wise, because that's what Shaman's full of. It's full of minions where the stats just suck. And if you go trade, and then they have to play minions and trade more into them, your one card has beat like 4 Shaman cards, which even though with the extra Battlecry value, you add that up, as long as you don't die, which Surrender did come close to now and again, even though you don't get to play Fioris, you've gained more value from those cards than any of the Shaman ones. It's kind of crazy. And also, lack of Barista, of course.
That makes a big difference.
Let's check out the standings. Unfortunately, we can't grab Surrender for an interview. I think he has some internet issues. But we can look at how the standings look.
This is nuts.
Still chilling. Didn't play today, so he's still like, minions, you can play first. I'll play later, still at 9-1. But Surrender now, top 3. And again, I just want to give a shout out to a couple of players. Hopefully these results continue. But Shaxi, Surrender, who else? There were a couple of Alu, Timu, and Staz, arguably. They could qualify into the playoffs for both seasons of Grandmasters so far, which is a very impressive feat. And I know you can argue sample size isn't great, so results don't, mean a lot in terms of consistency of results, because you only play a few games. But if over 2 seasons you've qualified into playoffs twice, you're doing good.
Yes.
That's just a fact. I'm not arguing with anyone with that. It's just true. But we also need to have a quick focus on the bottom there. Blood Trail, of course, not looking too great at 1-9. Patra 2-9 after the loss to Blitzstring, who's at 4-7. That feels like a chasm now in terms of the gap between them both. But there are still 3 more matches to play for both of those, which means that the gap can be closed. Let's check out tomorrow's schedule and see what we've got coming up, Darek.
What are we starting with? Chonsu and Rivius.
Oh,
Chonsu, at this point, he's one of the few players who can really have his eyes set already on first place.
Yep.
After Glory and Tom in Division B both took a few losses in the last couple of weeks, it's still a big scrap for first place. As of course, when we head into playoffs, first place gets an advantage. They get basically one automatic win heading into the playoffs. But Dawn and Glory, as we see, they're 2 players who both have had their eyes set on first place in previous weeks. But now, honestly, the top 5 or 6 players are almost all even. It feels like, in terms of their chances in Division B. But then, of course, the big one, Staz and Patra. If Patra wants any chance whatsoever of not being relegated, she has to win.
Yeah, I think you'd have to say every match is a must-win now for Patra to have any chance of survival. But then we've got Shaxi versus Blood Trail going up, and Shaxi again, a fantastic performer from last season, might be making playoffs once again. And then Tyler versus Surrender to finish up the day. Surrender in both 2 last match days. Feels pretty good.
It does. Blood Trail, as we can see there as well, with his 1-9 record. We've been focusing on Patra on the other side, but Blood Trail, it's almost because it already feels like he's just out. Yeah, with Samuel Sao picking up the wins in the last few matches, it is, like you said, it has to be an absolute miracle at this point.
It really does. But we are done for our day 1 of Grandmasters for this week. We had our 6 matches, and then we've got Europe coming up, and then America's following after that, as per usual. So make sure to stay tuned and check those broadcasts out if you can stay awake, depending on time zone, of course. But we will see you tomorrow. So from Darek and myself, goodbye.